Hello friends, my name is Josh and today I'm going to show you how to create your own Find a Babysitter Siri shortcut. And before I start walking through the Siri shortcut step by step, let me start by showing you exactly what it does. So in this case the scenario is, suppose my spouse and I are looking for a place to go out on a date and we think, oh I don't know, this place looks good. In the share sheet, so if you go like you're going to share the business with someone from say Yelp or from anywhere else where you would share something, you can actually put Siri shortcuts in there. So from the share sheet, I'm just going to tap shortcuts, and from this short list of shortcuts that are relevant for a share sheet, I'm going to select Find a Babysitter.
Who would you like to babysit?
Mary Poppins.
What time would you pick up Mary Poppins?
5:30 p.m. on Friday.
What time would you get home?
11:30 p.m. And here is my pre-formatted little text message. So it has the date, the time to pick her up, the time to drop her off, or actually the time that we would return to pick her up. This is an opportunity for me to go and change any of the details, make sure everything looks good, that I got the correct Friday in there. It also is a good chance to add maybe a discussion about her rate or whatever question I might have. This is good for now. I'm going to hit send on that iMessage, and Siri has created an appointment for me. So let me go in here and show you exactly what I've done. The way that you create a Find a Babysitter Siri shortcut is you should go to the Shortcuts app and click the plus sign to start making a new shortcut. And to start with, I'm going to start typing continue. Continue will bring up in this left panel a list of functions related to the word continue, and I want continue shortcut in that. The reason is I think that I had some issues with the dictation. It kind of got switched around or something. It was not playing super nice, so without this function, so I'm going to put it in. The next thing is I'm going to set the volume. I want to make sure that I'm able to hear what Siri has to say, but I don't want her to be like super loud. This may or may not work for you, but I think it's always a good idea to throw it in there. The next thing I'm going to add is the text itself for that initial question. So I'm going to start typing text. I'm going to click and or tap and drag into my little shortcut timeline here. I'm going to just type, who would you like to babysit? Okay, and now this text, I need to pass it into something that makes Siri speak it to me. Maybe you're in a situation where you want to invoke Siri from a smart speaker or an Apple Watch. In such cases, I think that speaking text is the way to go. So, yes, we do want Siri to wait until we're finished before proceeding with the next step. I'm comfortable lifting the rate just a little bit. There's no reason not to. I know what she's about to ask me, so it's more just a prompt to start the dictation. And that's kind of all I need to do for speak text. The next step is dictate. So I'm just going to tap dictate text. That adds it to the bottom of my shortcut. This is fine. I'm going to change it to after a short pause, see if I can make this little chat with Siri go as quickly as I can. The next step is to find contacts. Right, so what Siri does is she just collected a name, and presumably the name of my babysitter is someone I already know. So basically I want Siri to find the contact associated with the name I just gave her. I'm going to add a filter, and I'm going to select the name. If you go all the way to the bottom, I think, yeah, there it is. Name is, and we're going to tap dictated text. Okay, so basically Siri asks for information, we speak something to her, she turns our sound waves into text, and then Siri goes in and compares that text that she just received to my list of contacts, and now we need to give that contact kind of a shortcut, a variable we call it in programming. So I'll start typing set variable. This function gets used a lot. You may want to consider favoring it. I'm going to just call this sitter. Okay. And the next thing is, see these little lines that show up between these last three functions here? Those little tiny lines right in the middle, those indicate that information is being passed from one step to the next. And I just want to have a little breakpoint. This may or may not actually be necessary, but just for the sake of being thorough, I'm going to throw a nothing in there. If you can catch that, nothing produces no output. It doesn't do any actions. It's just separating information. Okay? So the next thing is the second part of the dialogue between you and Siri. I'm going to give her some text to say. And she's just going to say, what time would you pick up? And I'm going to type, I'm not going to type, I'm actually going to tap the word sitter there. Tap sitter. And I'll throw a question mark there. And Siri doesn't have to, yeah, I'm going to leave it here. If you notice if you tap on sitter, it gives you some information, right? Because sitter is a variable that represents all of the contact information available for the person that Siri heard me say. And just to prevent any kind of mistake, you don't want to invite the wrong person to babysit, I'm going to leave it as full name here, okay? So again, we need to speak the text. I'm going to just scroll up and tap the speak text that's already here and tap add to the shortcut. It puts it at the bottom. The configurations are the same. And then the next step is I'm going to get some more dictated text. I'll add that to the bottom. Short pause is good. So what I'm looking for here is the time and the date. And the way that Siri handles time is actually through date functions. If I start typing date, one of the things that pops up here is get dates from input. I'm going to bring that in to my shortcut. And what that does is it turns the text that Siri heard me say in the dictate text step, it turns it into a date, information that it considers a date. And now I'm just going to set this as a variable as well. Just to make things easy, I think it's a good idea. I'm going to call it pickup time. Now, it's true that some babysitters may be able to drive themselves or take public transit or even walk over. Maybe it's even a child, an older child of yours, and you're asking if they can babysit, so they may or may not actually need pickup. But just for the sake of this, the common scenario would be that you'd go and you'd pick up a teenager to watch your younger children. So that's what we're planning for here. The final part of this dialogue with Siri is the ending time. I just think it's helpful to give the people that you're trying to hire a sense of when you're going to be home. So that's what we're going to ask. What time would you get home? Okay. And we're just going to add speak text again. We're going to add dictate text again. And we're going to call this a new variable name called ending time. Okay? Now, let's do one more nothing function in here. And we're going to go to the next step. Now, here's the part where we want to add a message. okay? So if you start typing message, and you scroll down, you can get send message. Sends an SMS. We do want to leave show and run available because if we turn it off, that will run this send message in the background, and we don't actually want to do that. Remember, we want to review the message before we send it to make sure we didn't make any mistakes in time or date, and to make sure that there's all the information covered that needs to be covered. So we'll leave that on. For recipients, we are going to put sitter, and specifically phone number, and we are going to type a message. So for the first message, why don't we just say, hi, sitter's first name, okay, now something happened here. When these variables show up as red, it usually means there's some kind of a problem. Yeah, so when we copied set variable, it broke the pickup time variable, but we just restored it, I think. So yeah, there we go. We have this message. And we could continue from here and go on to the next step, but I kind of think that we can be a little bit nicer to our babysitters. If I kept getting the same rote invitation on some weekly or monthly basis, then I mean, I might feel like maybe I wasn't appreciated. Someone was doing automation, and so maybe they didn't validate me as much. I don't know. Maybe I'm kind of a weird person that way, but I came up with a solution that I really like. So let me show you what I'm going to do. I'm going to start typing random, and I'm going to grab random number and throw it in after the nothing, before the message. Okay. I'm going to set the minimum to 1 and the maximum to 3. What this does is Siri will generate a random number between 1 and 3. So 1, 2, or 3. And then I'm going to make an if statement. Okay, so I'll start typing if. I will click it and I will just sneak it in here. Now, what I want to do is say, okay, if the random number equals 1, then I want you to go ahead and send this text message that I just created. Okay? See, right here in this send message, we actually have pickup time twice, and that's okay. The thing is, we need to correct it. We want to show only the date. If I tap on pickup time, you'll see it has date preferences and time preferences. I don't want to show time right now. And for date, custom. And we're going to do, we don't need the hours, minutes, seconds. We don't need the year, that's understood. And I think we want to spell out September. I think we want to spell out the day of the week. And for being an American, I think people are kind of accustomed to having the days be at the number be after the month. So the custom date format should look like that. For the second pickup time, we don't care about the date. We just told them what it is, so we'll hit none. And for the time format, let's keep it nice and short. Let's duplicate this, and let's change the text. Okay, and I'm gonna add one more if statement just because 3 is better than 2. We'll duplicate this. Okay, so maybe that was a little bit of an extra step there, but I just like to be polite. I like people to think that they're valuable. I like people to think that we appreciate them, and I don't want automation to get in the way of that. Um, so here we go. We'll add a nothing function, and we will get a variable. So what we're driving at is we want to create a calendar appointment. And so for this variable, let's go and get the sitter again. So remember, sitter represents the contact that we've asked Siri to try and book for us. The next thing we need to do is get details about that sitter. So we start typing get details. We have get details of contacts. And we really want the street address. Again, in this situation, we're assuming that we're going to go pick up the babysitter. And so we have to know where the babysitter is. Theoretically, our babysitter's contact information would include his or her street address. And now we need to figure out the travel time. So if you start typing travel time, there it is. Throw that on the bottom. Make sure it's on the bottom. That's why tapping instead of dragging is better, but force of habit, I guess. Current location is good. If you wanted to set a custom location because you thought it was more likely that you'd be at work when you are talking with Siri, but you'd actually be driving from your house to go pick up the babysitter later, maybe you'd want to choose a custom location, set it up as your own house. This wouldn't work in my situation because Apple Maps does not have driving directions here. But hopefully where you live, you do. So you could actually go ahead and put your address here. I'm going to leave it as current location. The transportation mode is going to be driving, and we need to set the variable. This travel time and route is going to be used to create the calendar appointment. So we'll call this pickup. Sorry, pickup is one word. I promise you it's one word. Pickup time and route. And now we want to go back and we want to get the initial variable, which is pickup time. So now we have the pickup time, and we want to adjust the pickup time in the amount specified in the variable pickup time and route. Okay, so we'll grab this adjust date function. We want to go backwards in time, so we'll hit subtract. Unit will be in minutes, and we want to get the pickup time and route. There. Okay. So theoretically, this should output the time that we need to leave our current location to go and pick up Mary Poppins. Let's set that as a variable. And we are going to call it leave for pickup. And we're in the home stretch. Let's do add new event. So we have add new event. The title is going to be the sitter's name. Again, let's leave full name just to make sure that if we did make a mistake, we correct it before it becomes embarrassing or ruins our night. Sitter is babysitting. And the location is going to be the sitter's street address. And the alert we are going to set as custom, because we already calculated that there's a specific time, leave for pickup, that we want to leave at. And just for the sake of being thorough and careful and making sure that all people in the family have access to the crucial information, like the sitter's phone number, I'm just going to add her phone number to the notes section. Suppose your spouse did not have the sitter's contact information, but you did, and you got separated, or there was an emergency. You'd want to make sure that the phone number for the sitter was somewhere in the shared family calendar. So I just put it in the notes there. And finally, let's show the event in the calendar. Okay, so that step will open up the calendar app and it should show us the event that we created, and we're done. So for the sake of being thorough, let's exit the shortcut. Make sure that as a nice way to clean things up if somehow we're still in shortcuts at the end of running this shortcut. So that's the shortcut. That's it right there. The next thing we want to do is give it a name. So we're going to call this Find a Babysitter. Now I already have a Find a Babysitter shortcut, so I need to give it a separate name. Okay, and so for the icon, why don't we go with pink, and let's do the martini glass. And let's add this to Siri. So what we are going to do is tap Add to Siri, and it'll take us through a dialog. So we'll tap Add to Siri, and we're going to say Find a Babysitter. So I will record this. Find a Babysitter 2. And there we go. So that's all there is to it. Feel free to let this tutorial inspire you to create your own Siri shortcuts. If you want to copy mine exactly, that's fine. I'm happy for you to do that. If you just want to start using the shortcut right away, or if you want to create your own version but you want to save yourself some time by starting with the Siri shortcut finished in its entirety, then I'm actually making the Siri shortcut available. Down in the description, there's a link. It'll take you to iMessage. You're just going to let me know that you want the Find a Babysitter Siri shortcut. I'm going to send you a quick Apple Pay request for $1, and as soon as I get your confirmation, then I will send you a link to download the Find a Babysitter Siri shortcut. As soon as you send confirmation, then I will send you a link to add the Find a Babysitter Siri shortcut to your device. If you have any questions about any of this procedure, or how to use or edit the Siri shortcut, feel free to let me know. Twitter is a great way to get in touch with me. And finally, I would love for you to upvote the best new Siri shortcut idea in the comments, and we'll see if we can figure out a way to make it work for you. Thanks so much, and we'll see you next time.